So I see from the interwebs that Kelly Sue DeConnick is planning on writing Aquaman. Although she's not, she's planning on writing the same character she always writes, which is, Bitch Planet, and writing that again with the Aquaman label slapped over it. So presumably we'll have Queen Mira ruined and made from strong women into ballbuster, and Aquaman will be sidelined in his own story, but, forgiving that for the purposes of this video. The article is out there somewhere. I'm not linking to it or showing you it because I refuse to look at that woman's awful Skeletor face. And yes, before you get all feministy on me for insulting her appearance, well, she insults mine all the time by the fact I'm white and have a dick. So yes, I have saved you a click on whatever god-awful leftist rag she's been writing this on. I think it was Polly Mong. Please visit my Patreon and you can continue to fund my efforts to prevent cancer. So, I have a lot of books and comics that I read. People are like, well, why do you still bitch about, the main DC titles? Just go and read something else. Well, the thing is, I want those main DC titles. I don't want a substitute for them. I don't want a substitute for Batman. I want good Batman. And the bitching will continue until the quality improves. Stop telling me to read manga. If I re-enter puberty, I will let you know. Now, Jeff Johns wrote Aquaman, and before he made it his life's mission to ruin the DC universe, he was actually doing a very good job of elevating the DC universe, and he had this real talent for giving old Silver Age heroes the Incredibles treatment. So he would just add a flash of, modern world sensibility, but keep the Silver Age roots of the hero intact, which I thought was a really good thing, and his run on Aquaman is one of my favourite comics in my collection. So, naturally, because Kelly Sue DeConnick's exposure to superheroes extends to that run on Aquaman and Super Friends, she has, and Jason Momoa posters, she is deciding to write Aquaman using that as her reference because, Death of the Prince never happened, presumably, and never mind. So, yes, Johns is a disaster, she's a disaster. I have a real... People go on about boomers, the boomers get all the hate. I know a lot of boomers, they're alright. You know who I have a problem with? People who were young in the 80s. They do my fucking nut in. But we'll talk about that later when I do a video on zombies sometime. I'm not even joking. Now, Johns did a great job with that, and so DeConnick is trying to recapture the magic. Like 10 years later, final horse crosses the line. Well done, Kelly. And what she's wanting to do is ruin Aquaman. And the way she's going to do this is she is going to bring her own political bullshit to the story, as always, try and pass that off as a story, then claim that she was harassed when the story is absolutely panned by the fans, and move on to the next thing that she's going to destroy. The amazing thing that she gets into is that she actually says, here's what Aquaman's about, and then completely misses the point of Aquaman. But the main thing we'll start with is the more minor one, which is she says that, and I get what she's trying to say, she's just wrong. She says that she wants to go down a more mythical route for Aquaman rather than the sci-fi route, or I don't think she even said sci-fi, I think she said science route, because she thinks, Superman is a science hero, whatever that means, and Wonder Woman is a myth hero, whatever that means. And yeah, on the surface level that's true, because Superman is an alien and Wonder Woman is a, Zeus put his dick in something again, plot twist. So the superficial difference is indeed there, but the problem with what she's saying is that she obviously... Maybe she was being quick for the sake of the interview. I don't know why I'm being forgiving on this woman, but there we are. Maybe she's being quick for the sake of the interview, but Superman is like the mythical hero. There is almost nothing about his story that is in any way deviant from the classic sun god myth. If you go and read the myths of Apollo, or even Zeus, Osiris, fucking Thor, maybe not so much Thor, but all these sun heroes, and a lot of the biblical ones, so you've got Moses, Jesus, Abraham, it's all the same story, and it's all Superman. Like, he doesn't deviate in any way from those, other than he's set in the modern world. Like, In fact, he's maybe a bit more squeaky clean than fucking Jesus, for all we know. Johns is certainly trying to make him that way. God forbid Superman have a character. And so the idea that Superman is not a mythical character and that he is a science character, whatever that means, is just nonsense. Wonder Woman, yeah, okay, she's a mythical character, but I mean, she does as much. I mean, she has an invisible jet, for God's sake, so she's not averse to a bit of science herself. What Kelly Sue means is, she can't actually bring herself to write a masculine male character, and she's going to have to use the model of a woman. The biggest thing that she gets, where you can actually hear the cognitive dissonance ringing out of her like a bell, is that she says she wants to focus on Aquaman's true tragedy, which is being mixed race. Which is fucking insulting to anyone who's mixed raced, by the way. Like, let's get that off the bat. Like, that's really fucking insulting. It's insulting to anyone who is fully raced, like, you know, an actual minority, and it's just stupid. Like, the idea that being mixed race is a character is just ridiculous. And she completely glazes over Aquaman's true tragedy by trying to imprint her own views onto the character. Because you know what Aquaman's true tragedy is? He was heartlessly abandoned on a doorstep by his completely inept mother, who was in fact so inept that, under her watch, Atlantis basically fell into complete chaos and had an ethnic cleansing going on, which is why she had to throw her son out of the ocean and leave him with his single dad for all these years. And then not only is she doing that, but she's turning his strength into a weakness, because the whole point is that Aquaman is such a powerful character that he becomes as celebrated as a king in Atlantis and as a hero in the surface world. He becomes master of both worlds, which is like the ultimate mythological tale. So I guess she has that going for her. She then talks at length about Jason Momoa, who is absolutely, like, I think he's a great casting as Aquaman, but that was a really new innovation by Zack Snyder that was put in and then kept, to make him, you know, Polynesian and a bit of a surfer. So what Kelly Sue DeConnick is doing is she's saying that by modelling him on a female character, she's going to emasculate him, and by modelling him on Momoa, Jason Momoa is a good actor, so he can handle being masculine and kingly. Kelly Sue DeConnick is not a good writer, so she can't write masculine and kingly, so what you're going to get is an effeminate dude bro, solid boy Aquaman. Well done. And it's just depressing, because he's called Arthur. King Arthur is going to be reduced to some, oh, but I have dual heritage, and where is my visa for Atlantis, and oh my god, like, am I going to have a passport between, like, no, like, presumably we're going to have some racial supremacy going on with Orm, which we've had before, by the way. And then the other thing is that Aquaman's true tragedy isn't in fact related to his parentage, which is again the fault of his mother, not anything to do with his mixed race. But she wouldn't want to touch that one with a barge pole. The problem with Aquaman, once he became master of the surface world and master of Atlantis, was in fact that his son was murdered by his brother, and he then had to decide whether or not he was going to kill his brother in Death of the Prince, which was a slightly clumsily handled story, but it was the bloody 70s, and that is a stupendous run of comic books. Like, it's brilliant, because you see the character who is still in Super Friends, like the guy who talks to fish. You see in the comics just how that has nothing to do with what Aquaman is, and he is this supreme ruler of Atlantis who leads from the front, leaves Atlantis to go and fight supervillains himself instead of sending soldiers, who are high-tech and trained in magic, by the way, so he could send soldiers to fight Orm and Weather Wizard and all that, but he doesn't. He does it himself because he's the hero, and then his son dies. And him and Mira have to... Mira blames him for it, by the way, because she's so grief-stricken, and it's like, it's not even an evil feministy reaction, it's just a hysterical, bereaved mother, and I think she tries to get him to kill Orm, but it has been some years since I read it. Anyway, the woman doesn't know what she's talking about, and it's going to be probably a disaster. I hope it isn't, but mixed race, after all that, mixed race is the best she can come up with? No. So, yeah, leave your comments below, cry with me, salty, salty tears that will go down to Atlantis, and please check out my Patreon and share this video around. Thank you and goodbye.